Hey, welcome back. Technical Brad here. All right, well, we have yet another project involving our David Brown 880 Select-O-Matic, and this is actually a Freeman Loader project that we're working on. If you remember, a while back we made an attachment for the front to where we can remove our bucket here and we can put a quick attach system on here. That allows us to put on any modern attachments that are available onto our loader frame here, our frame system. But what we're going to do today is we're going to upgrade our valve assembly. Now what we have on our originals, we have two valves. We have one for lift and lower, and we have the other one for dump the bucket, tip it and raise it back. We're going to take this body off and we're going to install a new body that has three handles on it. Now this particular loader was manufactured in 1967, and this plug was what they call it was a pass-through plug. So they actually had a kit to where you could take the plug off, put a kit on here, and you could put another single valve on the outside for your third function. So even back in the 60s, they were thinking about this stuff. And if this was 1972, we probably would be able not only to find the kit for this, but a valve that would fit on there. But given how this is 2023, you can't find that stuff. So what we did after some research online, we came up with a new valve body. This one, as we see, has three valves on it. So this will give us a third function. This is manufactured by Prince in the United States of America. So we're going to have to fit this thing onto our existing setup there. And one of the issues we have, the Freeman loader, the inlet and the outlet come in from the bottom. This comes in from the side, inlet and outlet from the sides of it. So we got to replumb some stuff so that we can get our oil into it, through it, and out the other side. The inlet's not too bad because that's just a flexible hose coming off the pump. The outlet is a different issue because on our original one, the outlet is here at the bottom. Well, that's a metal tube that goes into our tank and then down to the bottom. So we're going to have to cut this thing off somewhere in here. I bought a fitting that we can weld on here. That's a 3/4 inch pipe thread, because that's what we have coming out of our tank down at the bottom. Down here is 3/4 inch. That's where our suction line comes out and goes up front to the pump. So we're gonna have to cut that and weld a piece on there so that we can get a pipe on there. We also have to redo this plate. The pipe supports the plate. Once we remove part of it, this plate won't be supported very well. This is a 1/4 inch thick plate, but the plate's not wide enough because our new valve body, obviously we have another handle, it's much wider than what this one is. So that's going to involve some fabrication of some steel, and we're kind of got close tolerances here between our body of our tractor here and this side. We can move in or out once we get the new plate fabricated. We don't have to be exactly where this is because, like I say, our return line's going to come out the side and still underneath. So that allows us to play with that a little bit. I guess the main thing is going to be cutting this thing off and trying to prevent a bunch of metal shavings from going down into our tank. So I got a couple theories on that. But that's just the beginning. We just got our parts in today, 2023. So we're going to get ready to start working on that, and we will check in from time to time on the progress. Welcome back. All right, here we are with our David Brown, our Freeman Loader project, actually. We've got our new valve body. We had to make a plate for it because obviously it's bigger than the other one was, so the original plate's not big enough. So we made a new plate, and we're just now getting things set up and just making sure where they're going to go, if they're going to work right, get enough room for everything to plumb in between our body here, our valve body, and the vehicle. Get our lines run. We're looking at our return system that's going to go here. Make sure we've got what we need to get that plumbed into there. And what I've decided to do is we're going to go ahead and I'm going to undo the main frame here, and we're going to remove the subframe, this part here, and we're going to take that off the tractor, and then we're going to be able to cut it and weld on it and do what we need to do in a much more efficient way. So that's what we are preparing to do, and we will be back at a later time to check on the progress. Hey, welcome back. Technical Brad here. Well, as you can see, we have our loader removed, yet again. And got it stationary here. Went ahead and took the pump off. I didn't have enough room in here to do everything, so I went ahead and took the pump off the front so I could move the tractor, and it's up in the garage now. And here we got our frame laying here. This is the subframe to the loader, and I got it laying down here, and I've got it marked here where we're going to make our cut. We're going to cut it here, and then we're going to cut it up here and remove this section. And then I got a piece to weld on here so that we can hook into the reservoir again. I decided to do it this way because I'm hoping most of the debris will fall down into this end, to where if it was on the tractor, it would go down into our tank. This tube goes on into the tank. I'm not sure how far down it goes, but you can see it going down inside the tank. And that's why I decided to go ahead and reuse this inlet. I could have easily put a T-fitting up here on our breather and just come off of my valve body and into that. But I'm afraid that because this is a breather cap, that the oil will come out of that cap. If it was just your standard plug, then I wouldn't worry so much about it, but it's got to be able to breathe. It's got to be able to draw air into the tank so that it can do its thing. And so I was just afraid that if we did a T-fitting and everything up here, that I'd end up with oil squirting out of that thing, and it may end up being a bigger mess than doing this. Hopefully this isn't too big of a mess, but we're going to find out. So I'm going to get the saws on. All right, so we got that cut off. And yeah, I don't know if we can see that or not back up in there, but most of our shavings seem to have stayed right here at this end. So we can get this cleaned out of there. That's a pretty hefty piece of pipe they had on there. So we'll get this cleaned up, file it down, and then we'll put our fitting on here and we can weld that on and proceed. Wasn't too bad. Welcome back. All right, so we got our welding done on here. Oh, kneel down here. We put our fitting on there. That's a 3/4 pipe thread fitting on there. That's actually for cylinders. You can put them on cylinders. I went ahead and welded it on here, and I added a brace here because this pipe kind of acted as a brace out here to support there on the end. So I deemed it necessary and fit to go ahead and put that on there so that you know, it helps support the weight. We've got 40 pounds is what the weight of that new valve is, so the old one wouldn't have been that heavy, but I decided to go ahead and put us a brace on here. I'm gonna get some spray paint and go ahead and just shoot this with a little bit of paint, but we're pretty much ready to put it back on Brownie. So we're gonna I'm gonna shoot this with a little paint, and then we'll bring Brownie out here and we'll start putting this thing back together. And hey, welcome back. Technical Brad here. All right, so we've got our subframe put back on here. We've got our new fitting put on, got it capped. This will be the return for our new pump. We also have our new suction line put on here. We just got this as 1-inch suction line here. Whatever it says there. We got that from Surplus Center. That was $5.65 a foot. Surplus Center is out of Nebraska, and that was the only place I could find that you could actually buy hose by the foot. A lot of them you had to buy 50 feet. You know, they were $11, $12 a foot. So anyway, Surplus Center had it to where it was actually affordable and doable. And so what we're going to do today is we're going to turn our attention to this area right here. What we have is, way back in the day, we had a tear. I think it's right up in here, right behind there, maybe this seam where it goes up in behind there. Tore, this is the reservoir, this is our oil tank on our external system here for our Freeman Loader. And so we get oil leaking out of there. Is the angle grinder with a 4.5-inch cutting wheel. This is a very thin wheel. We'll put this on our angle grinder, and this will allow us to buzz down through here and then buzz up through here and remove that piece, and then we should be able to get in there and fix it up as necessary. I can tell that I've welded this quite a bit in there, so I'm thinking it's torn down in here. The metal got torn. That was from somebody. What we're going to do now is we're going to cut that off, and then we'll come back. All right. Hey, welcome back. Okay, so that took about 5 minutes to cut through there. It looks like down here we're pretty much okay, but right along that seam, I don't know if you can see that or not, but from right there all the way down to right in there, that seam is split and it's got oil coming out of it. Let's grab a brush here. Get some of the crud out of the way there. Let's see what we got here now. Yeah, you can really see it right there. Yeah, you can feel it too. That's really separated all the way through there. So that's where the leakage is coming from. So I'm going to get in here and clean this up a bit, and then we'll try to weld it. All right, welcome back. Upon cleaning this up, we can see that right here, you can see that tear goes all the way from here, which this is split here all the way up into there, and all the way down into there where I've welded. I could get the welding up in behind that brace. So it's split from down here all the way up, and then it comes over to here. I thought this was torn out here, and that's probably what that is there. It was torn there when I welded this years ago. So anyway, we've got this to weld, and then we got to weld all the way up into there, and then all the way down to there. Welcome back. All right, here we are with the Freeman Loader project. I got this thing welded up. As you can see, I forgot to shoot video before I went ahead and primed it. I went ahead and just shot it with some of our black primer, so it's still wet in some places. But we got a real big weld here. I actually did that twice. I welded it and it didn't look like it got melted into it deep enough, so I ground it off and I turned it up to, what do we go up to, 115 I guess it was. And I burned it in there, melted it, because it just didn't seem like it got in there. Now this side looked like it got in there pretty good. And I went ahead and ground a lot of it down to smooth it out. There again, I did 2 beads on it. The issue I had was the oil was in between in the crack there between the 2 pieces, and it liked to catch on fire. So I kind of did it in just short areas, couple three bursts, and then you know, went back over it again. Welcome back. Hey, Technical Brad here. Well, okay, so yesterday we were filming and our battery went dead on us. So here we are today with a fresh battery, and we're just looking at what we did. We went ahead and got this welded up, and we got it all primed and painted here as we look down through here. Hopefully it's going to do all right. We've got some cracks here in the paint. That's just the paint, I believe. What I've decided to do is we're going to leave this part of the bracket out, and then we get everything put back together and fired up. And if we have any leaks along this line here, or even here where the split was, we'll be able to grind that down and weld it and get it sealed up. It's kind of hard to tell. It looks like it melted pretty good and it went together pretty decent. I think really when this thing gets stressed from using it, that's when that opened that up. You remember the seam here was split completely through, and I think it opened it up under the right duress and then caused it to subsequently leak fluid. So anyway, I've just decided I think I'm just going to leave this part of the bracket out for now. We'll operate a little bit and see, you know, see if it holds together and is okay. So anyway, what we're going to do next, we're going to start putting our lines back on. We can run our 2 lines through here. We'll put our plate on, and we'll get the new valve body mounted on here. And I've got the parts came in today. Welcome back. All right, here we are. So we got our valve body installed, as you can plainly see here. And we've got our inlet hooked up here, coming in here from our line. That's a 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch fitting there. And we got our exit, which this is all 3/4 going down into our tank where we put our new fitting on there to screw it on. This is a 3/4 by 12-inch hydraulic hose. And let me tell you, that thing was a bear to get to bend in there, so I had to get all these fittings and get it back far enough so that we could get it to bend to go in there. I actually, at one point I was thinking about just using some of this. I got some of this left over and just putting a couple of barbs on there and running it that way. But we didn't do that. We went ahead and ran it the way we've got it here. I think it'll be all right. You know, it kind of sticks out a bit as we look at it here, but it's not too bad. I think it'll function all right, so I think it'll be good. Though we're just waiting on a few deliveries yet to get the rest of the parts and get this thing up and running. Our 3-function system. This will be our 3rd function here. Then we'll have our boom will be on the first one, and then the bucket will be on the second one, and then the third, or the grapple or whatever we hook up, our third connection there will be over here on this side. So looking forward to it. I think it's going to be great. And there again, hopefully. Hey, welcome back. Technical Brad here. All right, so we've got our valve body here. We've gone ahead and taken this apart. What I have done is I have bought a filter unit to go on for our return line. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to plumb this thing in. I think I'm going to try to figure out how I can plumb this thing in. I may end up plumbing it in this way. I think it'll fit up in there tighter and better this way than it is going to be in the vertical position, at least the filter being in the vertical position. I'm trying to do it this way, but I don't have enough room in here to get this thing plumbed in and then get the return line back into the tank. So that's what we're having issues with. So anyway, we're gonna fart around with that for a little bit here today. That brace is kind of in the way, but I have to have that brace there, and there's not anywhere really, there's just not a good place to put it. So I think, like I say, what I might do is I may just plumb this thing in this way. I don't know if I can get it up high enough that it comes out down here and goes into our tank. We've tried it various ways horizontally, and I just can't get it to plumb in very well. So anyway, that's what I'm working on today. I'm gonna get at it here, and we'll check back in a bit and see if we come up with anything that maybe is going to be functional. But I kind of want to get a filtration system on here a little bit more than what we have. What we have on this Freeman Loader is just it's got a strainer screen down here inside of here. You take this cap off, there's a screen in here that takes out the large particles, you know, before the fluid comes around and into our pump down in here. So we've got that hooked up. Now what I originally was hoping to do is just put one down here for the suction line, but I couldn't find anything that had enough gallon per minute flow, because I have a 3/4, actually I have up to a 1-inch. This is a 3/4 inlet, and this is a 20 gallon a minute on a return line, but on a suction line it's only 9. Well, I don't want to go down that low because that's an 18 gallon pump. So the bigger ones that I found, they're either 1.25 or 1.5 inlet and outlet on it, and by the time you start reducing it down, and the problem we have on this Freeman Loader is down here. This is where we come out of our tank. Down here on that is a 3/4 inch fitting coming right out of our tank. So unfortunately they did it that way when the pump has a 1-inch fitting on it. And yeah, it's like, why in the hell did they do that? So I thought when I had this tank off, I may cut that off and put a 1-inch fitting on there, and I didn't do it. Maybe I should have. I don't know. But anyway, that's what I'm messing with here today. I got, yeah, we got our little helper here.